What if a US Navy warship didn't just disappear, but slipped out of reality itself? Not sunk, not destroyed, not lost at sea. Witnesses say the ship vanished, reappeared hundreds of miles away, and came back with a crew that looked like they had stepped through something humans were never meant to enter. Tonight, we're diving into the mysterious time travel experiment of a whole ship, the Philadelphia Experiment. A story that sits right between history documentary and one of the darkest, creepy urban legends in military lore. And the question that still haunts researchers today is simple. Was this just a myth, or a secret military experiment that warped time and space? October 28, 1943. The Philadelphia Naval Shipyard. World War II was at its peak. In the Atlantic Ocean, German submarines were hunting Allied vessels like predators in the dark. The US Navy needed an edge. Something beyond weapons, beyond strategy. Something impossible. This is where the story of the infamous Philadelphia Experiment begins. A case explored for decades in history shows and countless history documentary investigations, trying to separate fact from legend. According to long-standing conspiracy theories explained by researchers, the Navy launched a classified operation known as the Philadelphia Project. Its purpose? Total invisibility. Not stealth paint. Not radar masking. True disappearance. The idea reportedly came from Einstein's unified field theory, which suggested gravity and electromagnetism might be connected. If those forces could be manipulated together, light itself might bend around an object. And if light bends, the object vanishes. This is the concept that later fueled claims of a teleportation experiment, a time travel experiment, and what some now describe as time and space warped by Philadelphia Experiment. It sounded like science fiction. But wartime desperation makes governments try things that would never be approved in peacetime. The vessel chosen for this alleged test was the USS Eldridge, a destroyer escort built for war. Witnesses later described massive cables wrapped around the hull, unusual generators installed on deck, and high-level personnel observing from shore. The air, they said, felt charged, like the moment before lightning strikes. Then the generators powered on. A low-frequency hum rolled across the dock. The water around the ship began to churn, and then a strange green fog appeared. Within seconds, the ship disappeared. No splash, no explosion, just empty water where a 300-foot warship had been. That's why some call it a ship vanished in the middle of ocean mystery, one of the most bizarre ocean mysterious stories in modern history. Here's where the story stops being just invisibility. Witnesses at the Norfolk Naval Base in Virginia, over 200 miles away, claimed a mysterious ship appeared suddenly in their harbor at the same moment the Eldridge vanished from Philadelphia. Minutes later, it vanished again. Then the ship reportedly reappeared back in Philadelphia. If true, this wasn't stealth. This was teleportation, or a wormhole event. One of the most shocking time travel stories ever linked to a military vessel. But the horror wasn't the disappearance. It was what came back. Accounts say the crew of the USS Eldridge was in terrible condition. Some sailors were violently ill. Others were confused, unable to speak coherently. A few reportedly faded in and out of visibility, as if reality itself hadn't fully locked them back in. Then came the most disturbing part of the Philadelphia Experiment legend. Men allegedly found fused into the metal of the ship, arms embedded in steel, legs trapped in bulkheads. Stories like these are why the case appears in documentary History Channel features examining mystical and unexplained military events. Whether real or not, The imagery is unforgettable. Officially, the Navy denies everything. They say the ship was never in Philadelphia on that date. They point to a process called degaussing, a real naval technique to protect ships from magnetic mines. It involves large cables and electrical systems, which skeptics say witnesses misinterpreted. To many historians, this is simply the Philadelphia experiment hoax, a myth built from misunderstanding, exaggeration, and Cold War paranoia. But some details keep the mystery alive. In the 1950s, a man named Carlos Allende sent strange letters to researcher Morris K. Jessup, describing the experiment in disturbing detail. Jessup was studying UFOs, advanced physics, and unexplained military technology. When the Office of Naval Research showed interest in these letters, rumors exploded. Why would the military investigate the writings of someone considered unstable? Jessup later died under mysterious circumstances, fueling even more mystery and suspicion that this was part of larger secret military projects hidden from the public. The Philadelphia story keeps resurfacing in history, documentary, and investigative content because it connects to larger themes. Cold War research, advanced physics, experiments with reality itself. Some even link it to later rumors involving UFOs, dimensional travel, and classified technology that goes far beyond what civilians know. If even a fraction is true, the Philadelphia experiment explained something terrifying. The military may have briefly opened a door into forces they couldn't control. Imagine it. A war pushing science to its limits. A ship caught in an energy field never meant to touch human biology. Time bending. Space twisting. The USS Eldridge becoming one of the greatest unsolved cases in history. Not just a legend, but a warning. So was this just a story that grew out of fear and misunderstanding? Or was the Philadelphia experiment a moment when science went too far, and the truth was buried as one of the darkest secrets of military history? Because some files were never meant to be opened.